Hi, Anel. How are you?
Hi, Brandon. I'm okay. How about you?
I'm okay too. Anel, I'm going to tell you about my last trip to Ecuador. Okay, 3 years ago I went to Ecuador, and when I go to this country, I could saw a lot of things totally different to our country, and about this topic, uh, I want to tell you about some about I want to ask you about some questions related to the gross national happiness of our country, Peru. Is it okay for you?
Yes, tell me.
Okay, first about the good government of our country. Does the government of Peru respond to the needs of the people? What do you think?
Well, I don't think that they respond about all the needs of people at all because they used to be focused in other things like their business or things related about the economy, but not about all the needs of people.
Wow, I agree with you. That's interesting. And what about sustainable development? About this question, do most people enjoy their jobs in our country? What do you think? Tell me.
Well, I think that for this question, the answer is no, because from my point of view, people used to select their jobs or their careers thinking only about the money that they could receive for this job. So, for this reason, I don't think that they enjoy or be happy with their occupations.
Wow, I agree with you too. Um and what about do most jobs provide enough money to live on Peru? What do you think?
Well, I think that there is a big difference about the money that each job received. And if we compare the salary of an engineer and the salary of a teacher, we could see a really big difference.
Yes, I agree. There is a big difference in the career of people. Um, and now about environmental protection, about the pollution, the noise, and the traffic. Do you think that uh, the levels of those are acceptable in our country?
Well, I think about that. It depends of the city in our country. Uh, uh, let's take an example of Lima and Huánuco. We could say that Huánuco is kind of acceptable, but in our capital of Lima, we could see that there is a lot of pollution, a lot of noise, and also traffic that also cause stress in people.
Yes, I agree with you. It depends on the country and on the cities of our country. And are there parks or natural areas available to the public in our country? Maybe give me some examples.
Well, I think that this could be a good point for our country because here, for example, here in Huánuco, we could see a lot of parks and a lot of green areas. So we can say that yes, all of these areas are available for all public.
Yes, that's good for our city. And finally, about the cultural preservation. Uh, what do you think about this? Do young people value and respect the older generations? What do you think uh, this?
Well, I could not give you an exactly answer because I don't know the kind of thinking that can have each young people. We could say that maybe a percent of young people, according to the values that they learn in their homes, could act with a lot of respect for older generations, but there are also a part that are really irrespectful.
Yes, I totally agree with you. That's true.
Well, Brandon, you told me that you go to visit Ecuador. So can I ask you some questions about that?
Sure. Continue.
Well, first, about the good government. Does the government respond to the needs of the people?
Yes, about this question, I'm going to tell you about something of Ecuador. Uh, in Ecuador, the government provides education and health services for all the population and is totally free. And this is good for people who don't have money.
Oh, that's really interesting. It could be good if our country also do that. And does the government treat people fairly and with equality?
Yes, yes, because as I said, uh, people have the same services. For example, they have education, uh, health services, and it's totally free. Uh, the government treats equally each person of their country.
That's really nice. And now about the sustainable development, do most people enjoy their jobs?
Okay, I think that yes, because when I walked on the streets of Guayaquil and Quito, I could saw that a lot of people are happy all the time. And I suppose that they enjoy working on their jobs because I think that people from Ecuador are so happy and are so friendly. And maybe their happiness means that they enjoy their jobs.
That's really good for all the people in Ecuador. And do most jobs provide enough money to live on?
Okay, uh, I'm not sure about this because I know that it depends on the occupation and on the career of each person. You know that some jobs like an engineer, like a doctor, like maybe like a doctor, uh, they have. Uh, a bigger salary than people who are related to education, maybe teachers. You know that there is a big difference between these careers, you know.
Yes, I agree with you. I think that governments should do something about that. Well, now let me ask you something about environmental protection. Are levels of pollution, noise, and traffic acceptable?
Yes, this is good for Ecuador because when you go to the streets, you can see that the streets are totally clean. And about the traffic, I think that there isn't traffic because all the cities have big streets, and this is good. They have a lot of roads for all the cars. And about the pollution, people from Ecuador uh, have more values than people from our country because as you know people from our country and our city, you for example you can see that a lot of people throw their garbage to the river and on the streets, and this is bad. uh, but when you go to Ecuador, you don't see this type of actions uh, because people respect their streets, their cities, their nature, and this is good from people to of this country.
Yes, I can understand your point. I also think that pollution is about the value that each person has. Well, now about the cultural preservation. Do young people value and respect the elder generation?
Okay, this is a controversial question because I know that it depends on the person and it depends on the values of each person. You can't generalize all population, but in Ecuador, I can see that young people respect the older generation because they respect their tradition. Also, they respect old people. I think that this is a good country to live, and this is all, Anel.
Oh, that's really nice about this country. Well, thank you, Brandon. See you.
Thank you too. See you.